Girl, I miss mine.
Hello, everyone. I am here with my sister friends. I've got Renee Buckus. I have Aisha Perez. I've got Nikki Giovanni. And I am the host, Candice R Dickens, the owner of Dope Black Therapist and CandiceRDickens.com. How are you, ladies?
I am doing wonderful. I'm hanging out with my sister, so I'm doing real good tonight. Real good.
Awesome. Awesome. Jump into, because we talked a little bit beforehand, and I shared that I have my own hair journey. Like whenever there was a change, whether it was a moving change or a lifestyle change or a relationship change, my hair went right with that change. It either shorter, it was locked, or I was on YouTube learning different hairstyles. Something really created a story in my life. And I know that my hair has changed so much that I remember being at a job and having a wig on. And I was doing mobile crisis work, and I had a blonde wig on. And then after that, I went to my part-time job at the hospital emergency department. And the same person I saw in the morning was like, "You look like this lady I saw earlier." And I was like, "Really?" I don't look alike.
Oh,
We're changing up a day, just about how I felt and who I wanted to be. And I didn't want to be inhibited by my hair.
yeah.
So, but I know that hair plays a huge part in terms of how people treat you, how people perceive you in the workplace, how people perceive you in social interactions, right? So I want to talk about your hair experience and the message you got regarding hair and beauty. So who would like to begin? I'm just so pumped up about this.
Hmm. You want Nikki Giovanni to start?
Oh, go ahead, Nikki Giovanni, full name. Yes.
So, if anyone that knows me knows that my hair is everything to me. Um, Ever since I was a little girl, my mom used to sit me down in the kitchen, wash my hair, blow dry it, and then take that hot comb with the grease, with the edges, and burn my ears,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
my hair more manageable, I guess. By the time I got to 12, my mom started sending me to the hair salon because she couldn't manage my hair anymore. Um, and once I started going to the hair salon, I was like, oh, I love this. I get to sit with the older black women and get some knowledge in here because the hair salons all the tea is there.
All of
Absolutely.
it. All
Yeah,
of
all the tea is there.
Mhm.
And um being there taught me a lot about my hair. My hair was processed because my mom couldn't. After a while, when I started going to the hair salon, she started relaxing my hair and sitting there in the bowl with your hair relaxed, and then you're on fire.
Yeah. Uh-huh. The
um,
fat.
yes, you got pet hair. Um, but then I left that hairstylist. And as I became more older and mature, I went to another stylist and she told me that I don't need to relax my hair anymore and that I can wear my hair natural. And I said, really? I said, I don't think it's going to work. It's not going to be straight because I was used to having my hair straight all the time because I thought that was more acceptable.
Mhm.
And then I went natural and cut my hair off and went natural. And I noticed that I could wear it straight, I could wear it curly, all different ways now. And a lot of people think my hair is processed now, but it's not. I get it blow dried and just flat ironed now. But going through that process, it taught me a lot about being a black woman and being accepted.
Mhm.
With my hair being natural, when I would go to work, people were like, "Is that a wig? Is that your real hair?" Yes, it is. And then I would take my hair sometimes and put it in like two cornrows.
Mhm.
They want to touch your hair, feel it, see if it's real.
Right.
Like, yeah, this is my hair.
Mhm.
And then after a while, I start getting color in it just to play with it, just to give me some little jazz to me. But if anyone knows me, my hair is everything to me. I don't smoke, so I just invest in my hair.
Oh, thank you, Nick. So each time you changed your hair, was there a response to you? Like when you did the big chop, how did people respond to you when you did the big chop?
Oh, well, my brothers didn't like it. Yeah.
They did. And what was the feedback you got?
Why did you cut your hair off? You look like a boy.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was they saw it as a masculine thing.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyone else did the big chop? Anyone else had that big chop experience?
You know, I don't even know if I would call it a big chop, but I guess that's what it was. I have a similar story
Mm-hmm.
as my sister. It's a little bit different in that I used to run every time I had to get my hair done. They said I have to wash. Yeah, it's time to wash your hair. It's time to hide, right?
You had thick,
Uh,
thick.
I had, you know me, Candice, from
Woo!
back in the day.
Woo!
I had a lot of hair
Yes.
down my back, very thick, and we not playing.
Mm-mm.
So the energy of what you coming to do, mommy? No, no, no. We're not coming to do that. No, no, no. So every time it was to wash my hair, I would hide. And my mother was short, is short. So she couldn't reach where I was going to hide. I went in the corner of the bed, underneath the bed, all the way at the top because she couldn't reach. She would have to move the whole bed to get to me.
Mm-hmm.
And this went on, because it was a process to wash my hair. It wasn't you're going to be done in an hour or two. No, no, no. And the whole process piece that didn't come till way later. I went to the hairdresser at 9 or 10, and it was specifically to comb my hair out. My grandmother is the only other person that combed my hair, and I didn't cry. So the exchange of when it came to chopping, I hadn't permed my hair in almost 2 years, and nobody could believe that I didn't have a perm. I was like, I don't have a perm. And it was a hairdresser that was featured in a magazine that said, "Oh, we're gonna cut your ends." I said, "Okay." So she says, "Well, when's the last time?" When she kept looking, she said, "Well, your ends are pretty good. What are you doing?" I said, "Well, you got to understand, we where I'm from, my family's from the Caribbean and Central America. You use food to do your hair. There wasn't no product. There was food. So
Right.
you take the food, you wash your hair. So when they said you didn't perm your hair for 2 years, your hair should be looking like a boo boo bunny. No, we're not looking like a boo boo bunny because we know what to do." And
Mhm.
I think when she chopped my hair, I had like 48 inches left. And she was like, "Well, this is not really a big chop, but I guess for you it's a big chop." I said, "Yeah, okay." She said, "Your hair is conditioned. So have you ever colored?" I was 29, first time I ever colored my hair. And it was like a metamorphosis. I was a whole different person when I came out that chair. I had shorter hair. I had a color. I was like, all right, where's my photo shoot? Where's my photo shoot? Because I am a dark skinned woman.
Yes.
And I told her, I said, she wanted to put blonde on me. I said, well, I appreciate that looks good on some people. It's not going to fly in my house. It's not going to fly with the husband. And it doesn't fly with me personally.
Yes.
It looks good on somebody else. I have nothing against that. But for me, Renee, I don't think it will look good. So she did a mix. And the mix was interesting because it gave me a different personality. As you said, there's things that you change and you move and you morph. I wore braids in college. And when you wore braids, people thought you wore braids because you don't have no hair. Right? Can I get a yes and an amen? All right.
Hey,
So so it wasn't about not having no hair. It was about I'm here to go to school. Ain't nobody got time to do hair. And the braids stay in. We live close to New York, so we did the back and forth. The interesting piece about it was how, you know, to know that people that were around us, they didn't know what our hair was like. One of our other family members saw me pressing my hair in the bathroom, and she called herself trying to save me. The bathroom's on fire. So this is where you have to educate people that are not like us, that don't have our hair texture. All of us on here have a different hair texture,
mhm.
right? And we got to educate them and even our little people so that when you chop your hair, it's not boy, because that was the big thing of doing this. I had to go on Facebook and share with my friends that know me to have hair. Hello. And I did my little video that says, hey, hair is gone, but it's still Renee. Right. And I think that's the piece for me.
Yeah. What about you, Miss Aisha?
Ooh, hair. Hair's always been a very interesting topic for me because I had kind of the opposite experience as, some of my sisters here had. When it would be that Sunday evening and everybody would get lined up to get, their hair pressed or whatever. I was the one that I wanted to be like my cousins. I wanted to be like my neighbors, and I would be allowed to sit in the chair. I thought it was such a special thing sitting on the floor watching them getting their hair done and remembering, you know, they would wait till the comb was cold and they would just literally comb my hair with it. But I felt like I was that community. I often felt excluded rather than included because of my hair texture, even my appearance. And having one parent born and raised in Puerto Rico, the other one born and raised in Virginia at that time, because I'm 56, there was this dichotomy where I wasn't Black enough and I
Mm-hmm.
yet Latin enough. Um, so for me, hair, oddly enough, always kind of represented exclusion or what people had a perception of me based on hair.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was, and I agree with you, ladies. Long hair is always thought of being very feminine. I always had very, very long hair down past way past my waist, hair that I would sit on. And never understanding why I might have been teased about my hair, never understanding why I didn't really quite fit in. And it wasn't really until college that I had the beautiful experience, of New Paltz, and what that was around, to see, wow, it's neither good or bad. It's just an is, and it's part of who you are, and it's part of that journey of self-acceptance. And funny enough, when you mentioned the big chop, for me, the big chop was actually when I had my daughter, when I was pregnant with my daughter, and I was about 26, was 26 when I was pregnant with my daughter. You let your friend, you being cheap, you let your friend do your hair, and it's like, girl, I need a little, a little style, something I've been feeling down. She's like, I got you. She was talking on the phone while she was doing my hair. And I just heard her, you're gone. I'll call you back. And I'm like sitting there like, wow, what did she do? And my hair being down to my waist to maybe about here, like literally under my chin, because she just wasn't paying attention and cut it. And you want to talk about like literally my mother not speaking to me and uh my Jordan's not speaking to me, but it was actually very freeing. I understood short hair being freeing, and I also understood how it not defining me. That's when I really understood the difference between hair, how people accept you, how they look at you, what they think of you. I happen to have one of those people, what do they call it, racially ambiguous or culturally ambiguous, where they and they know we know you're something, we just don't know exactly what you are. And I found that more my identity as people saw me, are you East Indian, are you Jamaican, are you this, are you that? That's funny enough, when I got the big chop was when those questions came about. I think a mixture of me being pregnant and doing that. But after that, it's like it was empowering. I began to see hair as being empowering and to understand you could do different things with your hair, and admiring the braids that I would see in other people and thinking, oh, I can never get braids. They never work for me. Everyone would say, oh, you can never get your hair braided. And maybe about sometime last year, I actually ended up getting some braids in. And it was probably one of the most empowering experiences that I've ever had, having those braids. It was literally feeling like a queen with a crown. So I can agree with the whole journey situation. And for me, it did wrap around a lot of self-identity, self-expression, and acceptance.
Well,
Mm.
it's interesting because my story is very similar to all of your stories in that I had an aunt, Aunt Jeanette. She's watching this, Jeanette Wilson. My mother could not do hair to save her life. So I would come with one plait above, underhanded, and one plait overhanded. So there was like one up, one down. Or my ponytails would look sort of scrunchy, not quite together. And I can remember saying to my friend saying, "Well, your hair's messed up. Your hair's messed up." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Because I'm the only girl. And when you're the only girl, everything you do is cute. Everything you do is cute until you go to school and you realize everything is not cute. But the one thing that no one could ever take away from me is that I had long hair, right? So I remember getting the braids and being like this all the time,
Mm-hmm.
right? I remember, just loving having my hair down and not really liking the ponytails and my dad picking my hair out and wearing this big afro. And I remember thinking, wow, this is great. And then my Aunt Jeanette introduced me, I used to pity on me, but introduced me to hot combing. And I'm a blue magic. Remember the blue magic or the black deck?
It's in the bathroom.
Oh, I had burns here on my ear. Oh my goodness, on my back. Oh, but I would get out that chair. I was like, oh, look at me, right? My hair would look nice. I wouldn't have those crazy braids. I loved it. And then from there, I taught myself how to braid my hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I taught myself how to make sure that lasts.
Yeah.
And never had a beautician until I was 12 or 13. And I remember going to beauticians and him asking, I went by myself, my mom was at work. And I remember her asking me, do you want me to style it or do you want me to let you go this way with the rollers? I was like, let me go. Because I'm thinking, I'm going to come out looking like Janet Jackson from Different Strokes. You, not like Penny, but like Janet. And when I woke up, took a shower, and no one had taught me, my mom wasn't a big hair person, right? That's not one of the discussions we had. We had discussions about everything else, education, school, but never about hair. And I remember in the morning taking my shower, put out the shower cap on, coming out the bathroom, and it was like a big fuzzball. And I was like, what happened? And I remember thinking, I can't go to school like this, right? And then the worst thing that happened to me was that same week I saw a Thriller. And I said, I want my hair like that girl with Michael Jackson. Not realizing that may have been a little bit of a sewing. Her hair was not perfect. That was my first big shop. Because my thinking is, if I can't get my hair the way I want it, because I didn't realize all I had to do was put a shower cap on. It wasn't discussed. So
Mm-hmm.
at the big chop, I didn't realize with that big Jerry curl thing comes bad dandruff stuff. So I can remember thinking, I'm cute in middle school, but all this dandruff from all this conditioner in my head. And thinking, this is not going to be great. And my hair never looked like Michael Jackson's, never looked like the girl in the video. And I don't know very many people whose hair did look like that. They're wet mess. And by the time I grew it out, I remember being in high school and letting my hair grow and thinking, okay, this is nice. And my mother loves hair. And I remember going to the beauty school to go with my girlfriend who was getting her hair, my girlfriend Vicky. She was getting a color and she was like, get her like a semi-rinse. It's going to rinse out. And I was like, nah, she's like, get a semi-rinse. I'm treating. What I didn't realize, they didn't do a semi, they did a semi-permanent. They did a permanent rinse. So my hair was lighter in high school. And I was working in the village. So my hair was everything. I had a symmetrical haircut.
You did.
Remember, Benet and I went to high school together. And I remember being in class with one eye covered. And the teacher would say, move your hair. And I was like, no, this is my look. This is my look.
I remember the teacher saying that.
Yes.
I remember being in the class. I remember the teacher. Can you see?
Yes. It did that was my look. It was like
Was
one
that so
long
hairstyle?
And by the time I went to college, and so my friend Vicky went to summer school before me, and she had done her hair that way in a weave. So everyone knew her by that hairstyle. Like in my high school, people knew me by my hairstyle. And the village where I worked at, everyone knew because I had the long hair, short, and it was like a reddish color. By the time I got to college, I was devastated because she had gotten to college before me. And they were like, you're looking like this girl named Vicky. And I was like, what? What? And then I remember cutting it myself. Because I was like, that's my identity. Because I had tied my identity with this real funky thing because it was part of who I thought I was, like artsy and all the other stuff. And then when I finally did the chop after I got my master's, I remember I had long hair. And I remember it was my grandmother's funeral. No one had seen me. I went to Howard University working on a doctorate. No one had seen me. And I had cut my hair while at Howard. And when people saw me at the funeral, people would come up and say, were you depressed you cut your hair? And then would say, wow, you look ugly now, or you look masculine, or are you gay? Or it was crazy. And the people I attracted were so different because people associate what your hair looks like, they associate what your identity is. So if you're thinking that going to hair means I'm a masculine person, then you're going to put me in a gay, a binary or LGBTQ category. Or for some people, they'll be attracted to my hair and their hands will always be in my natural.
Yes.
Say it again. Oh.
They're always in my natural.
They would try. Let's put it this way, Candice. You knew me from back then. They would try. Excuse me. What are you doing? Put that hand down. I said, put the hand right down. So we're not going to do is that right there.
No, we're not going to do that. Because my hair is short, I still eat pork. So there was a lot of assumptions. Person, this Muslim. No, I'm still eating pork, drinking. I'm still doing all that stuff in my 20s. Here. I stopped blow drying my hair, and people, when they see me, go, oh my God, you cut your hair. I'm like, no. I stopped blow drying my hair to give my hair a break, and I do a lot of yoga. I'm busy. And I'm at that time in my life where I'm like, I want some freedom. I don't want to pay. God bless my hairdresser if she's watching this. I don't want to pay those big expenses for a little bit of hair. I really wanted that free. And the segue is when you do that big chop, you end up sometimes in man's world and barbershops. And that's a whole different experience. Has anyone ended up in a barbershop before?
Just only now, not prior.
What is that?
I did not want to go to barbershop. I told them, listen, when I come there, I need you to use the scissors because I'm not a boy. I'm not trying to be a boy. I said, when I went there, I had a lot of hair, right, on my head, double strand twisted. And he said, do you want to cut your hair? I said, yes, sir. Before I'm about to turn 50 in 2 days. We need to work this out. He was like, are you sure? I said, I'm absolutely sure. And he kept asking. I said, listen, just don't make me look like a boy. My concern was don't make me look like a boy. My husband told me before I left the house, please don't come back here looking like a boy. I was just like, okay, no problem. So going to a place where now the barber is asking me, are you sure? And I said, yes, I'm sure. He said, can I tell you something, Miss Renee? Nothing about you says boy. He said nothing. And I said, I had to hear that because I had never cut my hair so short in my life. And when you say freeing, girl,
yeah,
you don't have to think. It's not that you don't cover and protect. You still got to do that. I said, but there's a disconnect when you relate who you are to this thing on your head. There's a disconnect.
It's interesting how hair is connected to sexuality and sensuality.
Yes.
Gender. But when we see someone who identifies as male, right, and they have long locks, we don't question whether or not they're masculine.
Right.
We think, wow, look at that man with those long locks and those muscles. Wow. Yeah. Right. We think, wow, your hair looks really nice. But we don't question gender or sexuality. But as soon as we cuts our hair, it's seen as a regression or an act of being masculine.
Candice, too, piggyback on what you was just saying, that a lot of Black people in our culture, we've been taught, like with the Bible, that it says that your hair is your glory, your crown. So we've been taught, like, oh, you should have long hair and flowing hair. And so when you go and do that chop, then you don't have that crown now.
No. And you go further away from being beauty, because I think beauty for me looked like Diana Ross.
Right.
That glamour.
Right, the big key. And I'm not sure about you, but when I look at ads, beauty, the standard of beauty is someone who has long curly hair or long wavy hair, right? That it doesn't look like short hair.
Right.
And that's why Lupita, for me, is incredibly attractive and
Ah,
incredibly sexy. And
yeah.
there's something that is, it's the energy of her face, it's the frame of her hairstyle, and it's, we don't have to see the rest of her body.
Right.
It's her, the presence of from the neck up, you
Mhm.
know. And I tell people, I said, if we teach our little girls differently, because
Mhm.
we were poured into, yes, and not always the right way, right? The
Mhm.
best that they knew how. I said, but if we look at these little girls and make them to understand, you don't have to press your hair when you are X years old. You don't have to perm your hair, because good hair is not a is not a perm. Good
Right.
hair is the hair you're born with.
Yeah. But then there's a negative connotation about Becky with the good hair, right?
Mhm.
Yes, they're
So that if
definitely.
you have curly hair or it's different, people think you're as good hair and think you're conceited, or they're trying to figure out, put you in a box. That's
Yeah.
exactly you're white.
That's
You-
just been my experience.
As opposed to just seeing you as a person.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
Right.
definitely been my experience. I've literally heard, you know, you, and especially that coupled with my how I sound, coupled with how I speak. Oh, you don't, you look white, you sound white. Um, you must think you are, and that's something that was always mind-blowing to me. I actually had, and when you even mentioned, Renee, about teaching your daughter, like I always let my daughter have freedom, because I always thought of hair as being expression.
Mhm.
Would you like to wear your hair, or how would you like for that to be? And I remember when my daughter was in grade school, we had a lot of instances where her hair was being cut, and when I went to the school, it became a really big deal because it's scissors, whatever. To come to find out, the little boy liked her and wanted to have some of her hair.
Mm.
Remember, keep her by it, but here it is. She's in the third grade, and this little boy's trying to hack off a whole ponytail. It's so funny how, like you said, hair, that representation of femininity or grace or beauty. But I think the whole thing about it, even when you mentioned Lupita, it's about empowerment.
Yes.
Looks beautiful and strong, and kind of resonates with the resilience that's in all of us as women in our journey to be our age. And we remember, like you said, you saw a woman like Donna Summer, you saw a woman that looked like Diana Ross. These were all beautiful, glam. Lola Falana, for those who remember.
Yeah.
Char, even, who remember that long, beautiful, flowing hair.
Yes.
But to see her and her embodiment of what strong and beautiful is supposed to be. Long hair is a chore to keep up. So you were considered to be demure and beautiful, whereas now we see the beauty in these women making their own choices. When I see the short hair on them, that's what I think of. I think of the new glamour and the renaissance of women to have their choice of how they want to look.
It's definitely a renaissance, definitely a change.
Yeah. And I think that it's a renaissance. And what I love is that I get to see women with red hair and blue hair and orange hair. And I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
because it's really about being creative.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
thing happens when we segue into corporate America,
Mm.
and the message is
Mhm.
here doesn't have a place. I know
Oh,
I've had sisters who have locks who go to interviews with wigs on. And I'm like, wow.
listen, I worked at the very um, conservative hospital in New
Mm.
York City, one of the largest employers. And the interesting piece about it was my hair, again, at that time, no cut, very long. I didn't have any chops, so I had a lot of hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I always wanted to have an afro at some point. And I said I would cut my hair just so I could have an afro, because anytime my mother tried to do it, it would fall like a lion's mane. It would never stand up. But when I went to work, when we got our first Black president, I used to double strand twist my hair and then take it out. So I look like a lion coming at you, right? All this hair. And I went to the meeting in my red, black, and green. And yes, that part. I was stopped by a colleague and she said, Nay, they allow Renee to be herself without incident because I'm respectful. They couldn't tell, like you said earlier, Isha, that if I was Black or white, right? But until you meet me, then it's like, oh, on the phone, I sound like somebody different. But in person that day going to work, it was rather interesting because they were trying to, the people of color were trying to quiet me down and tell me, you can't. My hair is talking. I don't have to say anything. My hair is first. I have on my black, my
Mhm.
little red tank top. I was ready. And what I learned with that was, oh, so you guys were okay with my double strand twisted hair out in a little meeting with a little dress and a little suit on. But when we go to the meeting, I probably should put my hair in a ponytail. I
Mm,
will not.
mm,
We're going to go to this good meeting like we do every other time,
Okay.
and we're going to have our discussion.
Mm.
Executive level meetings. Because the thing is, if you're the only one in the room, I tell people how we grew up. The mantra between my parents for us, my sister and I, was it's not about being the best black. It's not about being the best woman. It's about being the best person.
Right.
When you get there, make somebody know that whoever is there will remember how you spoke, how you behaved, how you comported yourself, and that your hair was what you wanted it to be. Now, to get that early,
Yeah.
you got to give it early. My niece had a challenge when she was probably 4 or 5 going to school. Titi, could you do my hair? I did her hair, took it out, puff, puff, puff. She had a lot of hair. She went to school, and another young black girl said, Imani, I don't like your hair. She was like, that's okay. I love it. Now, you have to pour into
Right.
that for her to have a response like that at that age.
Yes.
Because we don't prepare them, then somebody else gives them a comment and their world is shattered. Her world wasn't shattered. She said, I love it, and left, wash your hands and left the bathroom, and then came to tell us the story. So I only share this because our little girls are not going to get it from anybody else. They have to get it from us, and they got to get it early. They got to get it soon, because when they go to work, somebody's going to say something out of their face that's wrong.
Yeah. Absolutely. So there's a belief that we've got to prepare our girls for people to have mixed reactions to the hair,
Hmm.
but give them a sense of love, self-love.
Absolutely, big love, and a little bit, and love with a sense of respect.
Yeah.
Right? Where I should go. Love with a sense of respect. Because our challenge sometimes is, you know, I'm this big personality, and we don't do the big and bad attitude. Love with respect. Go in there and be respectful. It's not about your presence all the time. It's about who you are. Your hair is just, it's just like what is it? An add-on.
It's
It's that,
but it could be also an extension of you. It could
Yeah.
be an accessory,
yeah.
extension of who you are,
Mhm,
or some of your values.
mhm. Absolutely.
When I was in nursing school, so when I was born, I was told I had like blonde hair, and then as I started getting older, it was like a reddish color.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I got in nursing school, my hair was like that reddish color, and they told me in nursing school that I couldn't have red dye in my hair. And I was like, I don't have dye in my hair. My hair, this is my natural hair. They told me black people don't have red hair.
Mm.
See what you see what I
Well,
Oh man.
there's
And
that right when we have our under red or gold
Yes.
skin.
yes, yes.
Yeah. What did
Wow.
you respond to that? I'm just curious. How did you respond to that?
I told them this is my natural hair and this is not color on my hair. And I'm coming to school tomorrow with this red hair.
Hmm. See?
Yeah, this is me. This is who I am. And I let them know that they need to be educated. Just like they said, well, I heard that, Caucasians say that black people don't have blue eyes. My pop had blue eyes.
Mm.
So,
Right. So it's really changing the narrative, right?
yeah,
Stereotype how we should look or who we are.
right.
Not realizing that we can become in different flavors, different colors, different eye colors, different hair textures.
Mhm.
We're not like, it's not so binary like black or white.
Right.
That
It's
because we've had experiences and we've been stressed out to the West Indies and to America, to Africa, that we have so much diversity within us as people,
Right.
right? as African Americans, as Latinas, we just have a lot. And I think that one of the things that happens is that for many people, we get westernized and we think, because I think of the people who are very successful, the women, they have this look, very similar kind of look, where it's long and it's the whole thing. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But you don't get enough of seeing the other experience, which is why I've been loving Alicia Keys, because I remember saying, I just want to be natural. I want to give people another option. Because I know that there's going to be a time you're going to see me with blowed out hair. And you're going to be like, oh, yeah, it's cute. I'm going to say, yeah, thank you. But it's nice to have another option.
Right.
Where I can dress it up or I can dress it down. I can wear it straight. But who I am is consistent. The look might. I think that's what Benet was saying, that it's that, who you are stays consistent. But the look may change.
Right.
Yeah. And that one's not better than the other. Natural's not better than wearing a weave or wearing anything. It's just that what scares me is when I see little girls who are 5 and they've never had a relationship with their hair because they've always had extensions.
Yes.
Yeah, and you see their hairline. If you really look at them, their hairline has receded.
Yes.
Because their hairlines are now coming in at that age. So they have the baby hair and they want to brush the baby hair up front, but the hairline is going back. I'm like, give her a break.
Yeah.
One lady came up to me and she asked if like as you said, sis, is that your hair? And I just looked at her. I said, excuse me? She said, is that your hair? I said, and I went to the middle of my head because, I never had a weave, right? But I was told, I went to a class when I came to Maryland and I learned about weaves. I learned everything because they sat and talked to me 101. I knew nothing. And the ladies came to me and I went to the middle of my hair and I pulled my hair up. I parted it completely with fingers like this. And she said, it's all yours. And I said, yes, ma'am. She says, I was going to ask you, where did you buy it? And I was just like, I said, well, some of us actually have hair,
Right.
And I did, and it wasn't condescending because we ended up having a conversation. She says, honestly, I've never seen a Black person with hair like that. So it's about the engagement, because I could have been nasty to her, right, and not answered and kind of go away kind of thing. But the opportunity, I always say, when I travel overseas, I have one of two things to do. You have to leave engaged and educated, or you leave ignorant. You didn't leave your house and pay all that good money to be ignorant in another country. So it's your job to be educating somebody else, to give and exchange some love, right? And elevate. All ships rise, as I say, even the tugboat.
And so how do we do that so that we don't perpetuate, right? What happened to us on some occasions where people try to put us in boxes, or they judge us as pretty or not pretty based on our hair. How do we end that cycle?
I think Renee definitely was onto something when you say educate, but it's like you first have to accept yourself. You first have to understand and accept yourself and know that you are not your hair. Be anything. And I think it extends from the kitchen to the boardroom, wherever you take yourself with you, wherever it is that you go. So you have to be comfortable within your own skin. And that extends from, from the hair to this part, you know what I'm saying, to the sides, to everything. I think, again, when it's about taking back not so much as taking back your power, but more of projecting your identity and understanding that people constantly grow, change, and develop in life. You don't have the same thoughts and feelings you did 5 years ago. So it's okay for you on the outside to reflect that as well. Absolutely. And I think the other thing is also educating our young men, our boys, in terms of how they interact with women and the commentary that they make. And I think all of it goes together. It's having that open dialogue, having that transparency, having that conversation, and I think also being willing to understand that change does come with some discomfort. You are going to get those comments when you have to say, thank you for saying my hair is nice. No, you may not touch it. It's part of my personal space. And some not really make it about the hair, make it about
Mhm.
respect. And
Mhm.
that sometimes when people think it's about hair, oh, it's just hair.
Mhm.
Instead of understanding, no, this is me. You're addressing me. So I think
Mm.
really open communication and being open and transparent with our thoughts and feelings and letting them know, hey, and them meaning whomever, you
Yeah,
know, that these things don't make you.
that's right.
Way if you have your little boy in braids and long braids, it doesn't, he's a child, sexuality has nothing to do with it. It's just like you said, Candy.
Mhm.
I think those things are at least the starting blocks and things like what you're doing and having these conversations.
Something you said triggered something in me because I know that when I see a little boy with braids, they don't think sexuality. But but people associate boys with braids in adolescenthood with danger,
Mhm.
depending on what those braids look like or what
Mhm.
that hair looks like,
Mhm.
Mhm.
right? For us, it goes to beauty sometimes, and for them, it goes to sexuality. And what popped up into my head was the thing we haven't talked about is hair and skin color go back to slavery.
That's
Oh yeah.
Very true.
That's at that core of it. And I know that when I had discussions, like what makes it good hair and what makes that nice skin,
right. Mhm.
it goes back to, how we were valued or devalued based upon the skin color and the hair texture.
Mhm.
So you look to massa.
That's right.
So
And we
you
have that westernized beauty based upon how beauty was defined by them.
Mhm.
But hey, Mexico or into Puerto Rico or into Cuba,
That's right.
that hair and that skin color
yes.
had value on it.
Yeah.
It was consistent throughout. No matter where you go in the diaspora, the interesting part for me is going to as far as Japan, right?
Mhm.
Where they don't see a whole lot of people of color, right?
Mhm.
We went to Argentina. It had to be a cool, maybe 90 people that wanted to take pictures with me. People that I was with were upset. And I said, "What you upset for?" I said, "Let me explain something." Again, remember what I said when you go away, what you're supposed to do. Well, Renee, you don't know. I don't live in Japan. It doesn't matter to me. They've not seen a black person my complexion. Okay?
Mhm.
So we're gonna hug up, we're gonna take pictures, we're gonna do all of the good, and y'all go ahead. Because like I said to somebody that was traveling with us, she was just like, "Aren't you offended?" I said, "Offended by you should charge them." I said, "You see, that's an American thing right there." I
Mhm.
said, "I hate to say it, it's all about money for you." I said,
Mhm.
"If it was exchange of value for me in New Paltz, it was literally I got to learn different cultures because I taught people English and they had to make me food. So I ate Japanese pancakes in New Paltz. Didn't know what it was, but it was really good, right? So you write the recipe. Now there's an exchange of value. And
Right.
there's an exchange this for some people, well, it's not equal. It never is really if you think about it. Is your work equal to the dollars that they pay you? So when we get clear on what my complexion is one thing, a person's complexion is one thing, but their hair is a different color. So does that mean they're not a good person? Our judgments are off, and they're off because we allow and we participate in the crazy. So we
Mhm.
got to take back the crazy from small. And there's little books that they have. Every person that has a black child that is somebody I know, I send them a book. And it's a book on black people with hair. So they got to read the little book, all the pictures of all the different types of hair in this book. And
Beautiful.
they don't, it's not something that is automatic. You got to start somewhere. The India Ari song, I used to play it all the time in the car. I
So.
am not my hair. My niece was like, TT, that's a cool song. What is she talking about? She's not her hair. This is the same little girl that told the one in the bathroom, I'm good. It has to start somewhere. So I think for me, we have to take ownership and not go to have to sit on somebody's couch and talk about what somebody did to me and I didn't get from my pops. No, no, no. Stop all of that.
Right.
There's things that we didn't get. Absolutely. I said, but there's things we have control over. And as women, we feed our families. We care for them. We nurture them.
Mhm.
So the connection, as Candice said, it begins with a conversation. And I thank you for starting this conversation.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Were you going to say something, Nikki?
So my mom, she was diagnosed with cancer, and before they had asked her if she wanted to start chemo. And we had a conversation, and I told her the pros and cons of chemo. And one of the cons were that your hair may fall out. And so she thought about it for a few days, and she told me, she's like, I don't want to do chemo. I said, why not? And she's like, well, I think it's no point, but she's like, I want to leave here with my hair on my head. I don't want to leave here with my hair gone. So I said, okay. I said, if that's your decision, then, I'm oblige that and stick by you by that. I hear that you all say that your hair is not who you are, but for some women, the hair is.
Mhm.
It's an expression of who you are. Mine may not be tight in the afro, whatever, but I do enjoy having my hair when it was short, when it was long, when it was
With your girl.
all,
With your
all,
girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
all different colors. Because the beauty of that is that I can change. I'm a chameleon. I can change it all different types of ways. And my hair too, I style my hair according to how I feel too sometimes. So
Yeah. I think that the changes is not all you are.
right.
Because I
Right.
know I used to run a alopecia group, and when you lose your eyebrows, you lose your hair, because
Mm-hmm.
it loses it takes away who you think you are
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning, and then you've got to realize you're the same person. You just don't have your eyebrows or eyelashes,
Right.
Yes.
right? It's one part of you, but it was an important part. I said, is that important? Go
Mm-hmm.
get the same wig. You
Go
can
Right.
put some
fake.
tattooed on. Go
Yeah.
put some
But you
tattoo.
know what, too? When I was a little girl, all the way up until adult, until my dad passed, he always looked at me and told me I was beautiful.
Mhm.
All the time. I
Yeah,
walk in the house, he'll stop me.
yeah.
He's like, you beautiful. So
Uh,
as I gotten older, some people say, oh, your confidence is out the window. Because my daddy told me.
He told you who you were.
there you go.
So I don't care what anybody else say
That
about
part right there.
That's who you are.
that's
And,
who I am. My daddy said
and,
that
and,
I
and then your hair is only part of that. That's who
that's
you right? And that's huge. And I think that's the thing that we've got to look at. This is who I am. Then
Mm.
here's an expression of who I am,
Right.
right? It's an expression of who I am.
yeah,
So I will say, express yourself, all parts of you, not just your hair,
That's
right.
right? Because I'm a hair lipstick person. I love lipstick. It's an expression of who I am,
yeah.
That's true. That's true.
right? But I also know that, since we talked a little bit about racism and westernization and how sometimes that goes into our thinking and we don't think about it. Like I have a daughter I only have one daughter who has very long, tight, curly hair. So when I would do her hair, my daughter's hair would be down to here.
Mm-hmm.
Women who have daughters, oh my goodness, God bless you. Because it would take me 6 hours to do. It would take a beautician 3. They would see her and try to be extra because it was so long. So I would do 2-strand twisted. And what I didn't realize, I was saying to her, your hair is very long, but she went to a predominantly white school. And I would twist it. And when you do twist strands, it's like curls.
Mm-hmm.
And her white friends would say, wow, you've got like corkscrew hair. And I would say, stop letting them play in your hair.
Mm-hmm.
She went to middle school, an all black school, and her hair wasn't a big thing, except they thought it was a little curly. But they looked, compared to theirs, it looked long. Put it in all black school, and girls were like, oh my God, I love your hair. It's so beautiful. And it taught her something that I would say always, you're beautiful. But when she went back and her community embraced her,
Yeah.
and she got that there was something special about not just her hair, but who she is.
That's
It was
right.
that, right, it reinforced that message.
That's right.
Right. And now, recently she was like, oh, my hair's too, I can't take those 6-hour things. So now she's rocking locks.
Good for her.
And when
Yeah.
I see her, she's like, I love my hair. I don't got to do anything with it. I can go and I'm cute. And I'm like, okay,
You're right
it-
about that. Different.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a different way. And I remember saying to her, whether you cut it short or you lock it,
Mm-hmm.
you're not a hair person. You don't like doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
It matches who your personality is. And I think that's something that we've got to say to people.
Mm-hmm.
Bring a hair that fits who you are.
That's right.
not who fits who society wants you to be. But
Mhm.
I think that, when I saw this, I put it on TikTok. There was a young man who was in high school who was recently expelled, I think, from the wrestling team,
Mhm.
and then he went to court, and the court said that he wasn't covered under Crown Act, and they had the right to suspend him. And I know that for a lot of people, the Crown Act is legislation that protects you if you have natural hairstyles, whether you're in school or corporate America. Because for a lot of us, we aspire to be successful, but successful sometimes looks like being closer to people
Mhm.
who 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 have whiteness
Mhm.
or who have European descent.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And and one of the things I want to know is, how do you feel about the Crown Act? Do you feel like it's necessary in the workplace, in academia? And what would you say to someone who is starting their career, who does have a natural hairstyle, or someone who has a curly hairstyle who's like, I don't want to blow it straight. I'm Latina. I want to have my curls out. I just want to be myself.
I think that, like, coming from where I worked, um, I think that you can. I went to that place with my hair, and it just got longer working there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like you said, double strand twisted. I had all kinds of styles that I did. But it's like if you are in a conservative environment, there's an expectation of them. But you know what? The expectation wasn't that all the time. Today I'm wearing it up. Tomorrow I'm lion's mane. Okay, I'm Shira. Here I am. Hear me roar. And I think the connection was that I felt comfortable regardless. It didn't have anything to do with somebody else. And I think it's how it shouldn't be messy. I'm very particular now. I'll say this: people come to work, and just as if you dressed in a way that was inappropriate for work, right? You have on super tight clothes, etc., and you're in an environment where that wouldn't be if you in a domestic violence type of situation and you're dressed inappropriately for that, then you have to change your clothes. But as it relates to you're in corporate America and your engagement should be that you are neat, that you are clean, and that you are presentable. What does presentable look like? It doesn't mean I look like Susie Q, right? It means that I'm neat, I'm clean, and I'm presentable. My hair can be this high, my hair can be out. I said, but I'm presentable. I'm not coming in here just looking, you know, just a haggard mess. The Crown Act, I thought initially when I heard of it a couple of years ago, I had a problem with it because I said, I guess they would have sent me home because I was not going to braid my hair. I was not going to come in to work with a ponytail and a pom pom every day. I wasn't going to do it. So we've gotten so far now that you gotten up here to tell me now that there has to be a law to tell me that I can't wear my hair a certain kind of way. So my eyes, you want people that are blue eyed to work here or brown eyed to work here, but I have one eye blue and one eye brown. Now what? Where do I fit?
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think for me, it's a disconnect. Be clean, be presentable, and leave my hair alone.
Right. But the Crown Act will protect you, so you could come to work any way you want. You could be Jay-Z with big tree locks.
Well, it's about having to have that at all. What is the point of it, right? The point of it is that there are some people that will have that, it's all about balance of power, right? Somebody that has the power to be able to say yay or nay about somebody's appearance, to be able to take out that power and again level the playing field. The sad part, if you want to call it sad, is that we have to have it in the first place.
Mhm.
And I'll even go a little bit further and say something else. I worked for I'm going to decline saying who I work for, but I work for a very, very, very progressive company that is extremely acceptable about the way our society is changing to rise to meet people's gender identity, self-expression, so on and so forth. But I say all that to say it's about the ability, protecting, like you said, your ability to come in and have that kind of job, be presented and have that opportunity to not let that dissuade you. But racism isn't profitable. We live in a capitalistic society, and the only color that matters from that perspective is green. So what's happening is that there are certain aspects of corporate America and certain companies that want that dollar. They want the black dollar, not because it's the black dollar, they want the dollar. You see
Yes.
what I'm saying? They want the Latino dollar, they want the Asian dollar. They don't care who or where you're from.
Mhm.
They want the dollar. So they're willing to forego X, Y, and Z social constructs because they want that dollar. And because we're on the last vestiges of
Yeah.
that line of conservatism is why all of these things are happening to kind of like, throw the kitchen sink, because ultimately it's about exclusion and the preservance of power.
Mhm.
But again, it's about coming up and being prepared regardless of what you look like, because you're still going to be there to do a job, play in sport. You're still going to be involved in whatever it is that you're going to be involved with. So yeah, it's about, unfortunately for us, it's still the continuing story of, stay prepared so you don't have to get prepared.
Right.
It's just one more constraint that's being lifted so that way we're allowed to come in the room. But once you come in the room, it is important for you to make your presence felt.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
It's, once you come in the room, you've got to have a sense of self. Like, did anyone read Michelle Obama's book?
I did. It's right here. Yeah. I just read it again.
Where she talked about when she had the braid, she got so much negative feedback
Mhm.
based on how she looked.
Mm-hmm.
Her and the girl. They were like, oh, it's not presidential, it's not first lady, it's not that.
But
But you have a sense of self.
Mm-hmm.
but they say they can go to the islands and get their hair braided.
Say it again. Say it again.
Hey, but we,
Again, I can't hear you, right?
And they go off the boat and get to the islands and get their hair braided.
But they take it up at the airport.
Oh
At
yeah.
the airport.
Oh, but you know what? I noticed though, like in at work now, like if I wear my hair in 2 cornrows, after a while,
you start seeing it too.
yeah.
Hey,
That
There's trendsetters. Those people that live on that big black continent down yonder, they are trendsetters. So folks gonna carry, they're gonna follow, and it's cute to be in the know, right?
Yeah.
When we wore a certain particular kind of sneaker, oh, why are they wearing that? Now, everybody, you can't talk about my Adidas. The way we talked about it was a song, right? They talking about it now. It's regular shoes.
Right.
It's like an everyday shoe. And I think what it is we also have to pay attention to trends. We kind of follow people's trends and don't realize we are the beginning of trends that are out here. And if you really walk in the light of what that looks like for you, right? You move different. When I was younger, as a trend, we had Calvin Klein, we had Gloria Vanderbilt. I'm talking about we were in 1980s, 83 to 87 was when we went to high school. And that whole trend of what you're wearing means that you were in a particular group. Now, I went to private school. So for 8 years, I wore a uniform. Only time I wore any other clothes was on the weekend. So when I said to my mom, Mommy, I need some jeans. I want a jeans with a name, So she said, Oh, what kind of name you want? She said, because I'm not buying you none of them name jeans. You want a name? Let me tell you what you think she did. I'm gonna just stop right here. What you think she did?
But you on,
Our name, she went. My mother was a sewer.
yeah.
We went and put you guys our name and put our name on the jeans. Yes. So Miss Gloria Vanderbilt couldn't beat Renee. Okay. So I tell people we are the trendsetters. And when we acknowledge that, when we walk with it, when we teach our little boys that they're not bad, okay, they are kings. And it's not king to say, oh, you're a king, you're a king. No, no, no. Understand the king has a responsibility. Hold the door when you go through the door. You're not walking through the door and leaving the door slammed. The little girls have a responsibility. Cross your legs. When you go outside, your hair has to be done. What does done look like and what does it mean?
Yeah.
For you, it might mean my hair looks like this, right? It's done. It's neat. But we have to also give them that guidance. I find that now there's so much permissiveness. And I guess I'm getting old and I realize I'm probably old now because what I'm seeing as permissive. I'm like, where you going? you better go change your clothes. And it's the mindset of, oh, well, that's okay. They could go to school with shorts on. We couldn't go to school with shorts on, right? So you're thinking of a different time, but the reason why we couldn't go to school with shorts on is what's missing. They don't know that part. They just know when you say you can't go to school with shorts on, they don't understand the rationale. It's the attention you bring to yourself. It's you're a thick little girl. So it's literally allowing them to understand who they are, independent and individually, but then as a collective. When we all get together, you want to feel defended when you are in a group of women. You don't want to feel ostracized when you're in that group of women. And my hair doesn't look like Aisha's, and oh, I'm trying to pull your hair out. The first thing people do when they fight, what they want to do? You got long hair, they're trying to pull all your hair out. And in high school that happened to me. The young lady, when she was having a fight, oh, you think you're better than everybody? And she was pulling my hair out. And I was just like, wait a minute, disconnect. My hair is your problem? So when we say I am not my hair, this is an interesting exchange of what it is. I'm not my hair for me. But apparently my hair is a problem for you. So what do we do with the push and pull?
That's a t-shirt.
Very good point.
Again?
That's a t-shirt.
Girl. See,
but I guess
there's a problem for you.
But it goes back to, if I'm a Rastafarian and no comb can touch my hair.
That's right. That's right.
My hair, it's cultural.
Yeah.
To respect my culture.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. Because I know I grew up with, even with my daughter, I've got to check myself because she woke up this morning and she's like, okay, I'm ready to go out. And I was like, what? You're not going to put that in a ponytail?
She said,
stop with it.
It's like, girl.
Now, and this is when I had to check myself. There's a part that grew up with you're in order, care about how you look when you go out, because people are going to judge you based on what you look like.
Right.
You based on, especially people of color.
Yes.
Or police contact. But then I realized, wait a minute, I'm taking society's views and putting it on my daughter.
Right.
You check not making her feel ashamed of herself. I'm checking her.
Yes.
Right?
You check yourself.
Yeah. And I had to really look at
myself. That's right.
I think my privilege as her mother to make her look how I think is safe for her to look.
Right.
And I said, okay, let's go, girl. Let's go, baby girl. With a hair like this. All right. Let's go, baby girl. Right.
That was funny.
But one of those things, right? That thing where, because I know that we're from the Generation X, where we grew up with standards and expectations, and there's a look you have, and and I've got to look at my daughter who's Generation Z, and I'm like, I can put my step on her, but by me putting my step on her and always getting her hair done, doing 2-strand twists, blowing it straight, it's causing her to have a negative relationship with her hair.
That's right.
Because long hair, and Aisha, you might be able to attest to it, long hair requires a lot of work.
A lot of work. Yes, it does. Yes,
and just like that, Renee, you dreaded getting it done because it hurt.
Hurt.
Your hair experience should never hurt.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, when I went to my grandmother's house, my mom would take me. She says, you don't cry when you go there. So from now on, when you have to wash your hair, your grandma's going to wash your hair. She's going to do. And my grandmother, it's like my mom took her time doing it. But I think for me, it was like, it's muscle memory. I know this is going to hurt. I don't want to do it. Right. Mm-hmm. And it's not that she was cruel, or it's nothing like that. It's going to hurt and I don't want to hurt. So we're not going to do it. But at Granny's house, it was a whole different experience, right? Because she didn't do it all the time. Right. So I went there with a level of joy, like, okay, when we're done, I'm going to look different. I didn't have to hide under the bed. I knew what I was going there for. If it took however many hours to do, she did that. And I think that allowed me to take back that power, as it were, and not feel afraid of getting my hair washed.
Right.
Right.
And it's going past that fear. And I know something that Nikki said that I resonate with, like getting my hair done, like people, and getting my nails done. I love going to beauty. I look forward to it. I'm like, I can't wait to get in that chair, because it's the talking, it's the laughter, it's that whole communal experience.
Yes.
It's the one time we get pampered.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Take hair also as a rite of passage, like when you mentioned about your daughter, because, you know, for my daughter, going from I'm the only one that can do her hair, my daughter was definitely afraid of anyone. um you know, she was very she did not like to have her hair done either. You know, me understanding her, my mother's the only one I want to touch my hair.
Mhm.
And then when I remember when she got to a certain age, and the first time she said, I don't like how you did it, I want to do it this way, I want to do it my own way. And I remember, like, dagger in my heart, you might as well have just taken you know, take the knife out my back, like, oh, you don't need me to, oh Lord Jesus. My child said she want to do her own hair, and going to those teenage years, don't touch my hair. You know, that was like such a big thing. We laugh about it now. My daughter's 29. We laugh about it now. But back then, you want to talk about break,
Devastation.
like you said, using your motherly privilege,
Mhm.
where it was one of the ways of, you know, control, or I want you to look a particular way. And
Mhm.
it was an emotional thing. And then what I ended up doing was I ended up explaining it. And she later on called it the guilt trip, which I kind of love. Now we joke about it. And I say, okay, I'm about to start the guilt trip. But when I explained to her, you know, mommy loves doing your hair. That's something I always look forward to. It's like my time where I still feel like I can take care of you. And my daughter, being the, you know, the smarty pants that she is definitely me 2.0. She's like, that's nice. I love you too. But you can go into the kitchen and flip and fry something for me. This is mine. And, you know, although I still was like, ah, but then I kind of was like, okay, because I I realized when she was able to respectfully stand up for me
Yes.
and still make her opinions known in a lovingly way, I thought to myself, she's going to be all right.
That's right.
It's going to be okay. I was less worried. That was the gift to me. And I think one of the things that, along with the empowerment of understanding we're not our hair, is that we also have to embrace the gift that we are. You know, Renee, like you said, in being trendsetters and coming in all different flavors and all different looks. It's like when it's a little bit about self-acceptance from the perspective of being hurt and taking that, you know, everyone likes to talk about repelling bad energy and whatever, but we're at the point where we have to transmute it, we have to change it, and we have to take that energy that's directed toward us and use that energy into and putting into something good, like these conversations and like understanding these rites of passages. So, you know, I think it's just so important that we, you know, again, making peace with ourselves, but understanding all the different ways, like you said, Candice, the hair ties into our culture, and allow that cultural tree to grow.
Yeah.
Those little leaves and those branches to grow and become stronger, because then we are passing down,
That's right.
you know, those things. We're an oral tradition, we're a verbal culture. We as Black people, that's who we are. And I think when we have these conversations, we're making that impact in the way that's meaningful and becomes core memories for us.
Absolutely. I agree with you, sis.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been an amazing, amazing discussion. If you had to speak to your younger self, what would you say to her about her hair story? If you can go back and you can speak to your younger self, what would you say?
It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. It's going to be okay. um you you are still part of.
Mhm.
I think that's what I would say to my younger self.
I would tell her, your hair is your power and it's your glory, but it's not all of who you are. It's a part of who you are.
And I would say that you're beautiful. Embrace who you are. Love who you are. And be the best you.
Mhm.
And I would say, and the best you is the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, we suck at body weight. You all the way out. Thank you so much. This has been awesome. Woo-hoo!
All these beautiful women,
Mhm.
love it.
Absolutely.
Oh, Thank you.
Enjoyed the discussion. Like and subscribe and share. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.